ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತ? ಯಾಕೋ ಲೇಟ್ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ? 2
ಸರ್
ಕಾಲ
ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ
ಆಯ್ತು.
ಸರ್ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಸರ್, ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೆ ಸರ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್, ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಬಂದೆ ಸರ್, ಸಾರಿ ಸರ್.
Fine, okay. Let us start. In the last class we have seen the why EJB concepts are required. Uh, what is the use of that EJB in real time application? When to use the EJB, right? Now, I, now. So we have started discussion on the problem domain. So already we have seen about the problem domain. Which software you are calling it as a good software? Which software you are calling as a good software? So a good software is the one it provides the security, it provides the maintain the integrity, it provides the scalability, it provides the interoperable conditions, it provides the resilient or robust, and if it provides the correct functions as specified with respect to the business logic. So and many more, not only these set of the features, few more features are exist to tell about is it a good, it is a good software, right? The problem domain is the good software. It implies that secure, integrity, scalable, interoperable, resilient, and it should provide the specific functionalities according to the definition of business logic which you are defining. So I was taken the example to discuss this is IRCTC, railway reservation, right? The real time example I was taken. So now let us look into the breaking up responsibilities. So these responsibility, why we need to break up means everything is not possible by one man in his lifetime. So that's why to develop a software also, it's a big project. Software is also a big deal in the lifetime. So you, if you want to develop a sophisticated and good software project, you need to adopt some responsibility. So those responsibility you cannot do it independently. You need to have a multiple team of peoples. So to do that, so that responsibility will be broken down into three different phases. That is core concerns, cross-cutting concerns, and plumbing. So as the name tells us, core concerns means the people who is working on the core business logic. For example, I was given the example of banking. So in India itself, around more than 20 different set of banks are there. What are the core operations of bank? Which are the core operations of the bank? Deposit, transfer, lending money, borrow, then collecting money, right? Transferring the interest rate, all those things. So almost all banks support the same basic core functionality. If you develop one software, is it not possible to run all the banks? No. Why? All functionalities are same, but still no. No is the answer. Why? The reason is every individual banks means a group of banks. SBI is a group of bank. We can treat it as a one entity. Canara Bank, Vijaya Bank, different banks. So every bank's basic operations is same. Also, one software is unable to handle all the banks. Means every bank have their own core functionalities to providing the basic services to the customers, right? Those core concern handling team should take the responsibility of developing the core functionality. Getting the second set of the team which needs to cross-cutting concern. So in the same banking application, suppose from SBI bank, suppose your father has SBI bank account. Here in the campus you have Allahabad bank account. This bank is different, that bank is different. But it is possible to transfer the amount from SBI to the Allahabad. How it makes made it as possible? There is a third party service called as payment gateway. The payment gateway is a cross cutting. It's a cross cutting because payment gateway is involved here to transact between two different banks. So such kind of the cross cutting functionalities. The another example, loan processing department. So loan processing, suppose vehicle, come to the vehicle. So in the vehicle again, two-wheeler is different, three-wheeler is different, commercial vehicle is different, domestic is different. All those different category which will come. Again, it is not one branded. One bank is proposing one brand. No, it is one bank is proposing several brands. It may be Maruti, Tata, Benz, whatever it may be the different brands. See, complexity is more and more when you come to the enterprise application level. So to implement such kind of the complexity, you should have a clarity and distinguish between the different core set of the teams. So that's why this breaking up responsibilities are there for individual team of people to have a clarity of defining the business logic function, that to the core concerns, and some other team working on the cross-cutting technologies like payment gateway, loan processing, then request, response, all those things. Some set of the people are going to do, and the another set of people they are working on plumbing work. What is the meaning of plumber? Plumber, what he is going to do? He is going to connect all the pieces of pipe and establishing a connection from tap to the user place. In the same here, the plumbing is another core job of the team of members. They are connecting almost all database application. They are connecting. So if you think of bank itself, bank is not only the put every data onto the only MySQL. They may use us the Oracle. They may use us Excel sheet. They may use us several different file systems also to maintain the bank information. So in that case, so in the one set of teams needs to be connected very clearly between the different components of this enterprise applications. So those people will do the plumbing job. These are the three main breaking up responsibility. We can break down into a micro level also. In core concern itself, again, if business logic is simple, one team can handle. If it is still complexity is raised, several teams in a single, again, that divided into a several number of teams. Okay. One good example I would like to tell, SMSing, SMS service, short message service. So what we will do when we are using mobile phone, just selecting the message application, entering the to address, entering the message content, and clicking on send. It is a very simple application. So when I went for the internship in Mahindra Kamveva, so I asked for simple application how many number of people you needed. They told that 4,000 employees across the globe, not only in Bangalore. In Bangalore, there is two branches. One is at Manyata Tech Park, another is at here Jaipur area. So in these two hub, around 4,000 employees are working just on this application. Which application? SMS application. I asked why those many number of people only sending and receiving. They told complexity which will be more when we are deploying in real time. So if they are working for Airtel for some company, client company like foreign company, they are working on that SMS application to deploy Airtel services, SMS services. Around 4,000 people were working. So per day, around 10 to 12 hours, one team member is working. See, so much of complexity is involved. So, how much they are making us to ease of use of the application means there is behind the scene there are a lot of complexity might exist to solve your issues, right? So we can break down several team into I get several number of sub teams also. So the core is typically going to contain rules unique to your application and no one can build it aside from you and your team. So that is core. SBI bank team, if it is working on means SBI to the specific core functionality, depending on their core functionality, you have to work on it and your team has to work on it, provide the solution to the core rules. And core concerns is to reduce or eliminate the energy we spend everywhere else. If instead of that, if I ask you to build a SBI bank application, if I given as an assignment to you, what you are going to do? You are going to create the login page. Then second, you are going to design a page of deposit and transfer, withdraw. Then you only doing, right? You are not understanding what is the complexity in real time. So SBI is a number one bank in India, right? How many customers are, how many number of customers are there? Active customers, passive customers, right? Absolute accounts. All those complexity you need to think of before start building any real-time applications. Okay, one man cannot do everything in a, even though if we give sufficient time to him, he cannot do very clearly, right? To reduce that energy of the individual user, this core you need to work on the core concern teams. And the second one is cross-cutting concerns. The core of an application defines its primary function. Primary function of bank is withdraw, transfer, deposits, right? So whereas the cutting concerns are secondary operations. These are all secondary operations. What are those? Like keep things running correctly, whether the function deposit is happening correctly or not, withdrawing is happening correctly or not. Suppose if you have a bank balance of 5,000, you are trying to withdraw the 6,000 amount. Mathematically, it is right. 5,000 minus 6,000 equal to minus 1,000. Mathematically, it is right. But in real time, it should not allow you to withdraw that money which you don't have in your bank balance. Getting? So you need to check the balance before withdrawing. If it exceeds the money of the balance, it should not allow you to do that transaction. You need to keep these things running whether it is correctly or efficiently. And you need to also check the security assertion. One cannot withdraw your money. Why? Because they are providing individual credentials. So one credential cannot be used for another's user credentials, right? So to withdraw or transfer, because banking is a highly sensitive application, you need to provide the security assertions for that. Then transactional boundaries, you need to provide the boundaries to the transaction. For example, per day you can transfer up to 1 lakh. Per hour you can transfer up to 10,000. Per day you can withdraw up to 25,000 in the ATM counter. So you need to specify the boundaries for the transactions which you are going to interact with the application. And concurrency policies. So policies, for example, suppose you have an account in your SBI bank, you want to withdraw the money in the Allahabad bank ATM. So what is the policy? The policy is that Allahabad bank must be mutually connected with the SBI. So they have their own policies of SBI. If you withdraw more than 5 times of SBI card in the Allahabad ATM, they will start charging 20 rupees because policy they were made like that. They are providing service to you, but policies, because of that policy you are paying additional money for the banks. In that way they are making money, right? So the concurrency policies you need to be updated, security assertion, transactional boundaries you need to fix, you need to check whether all functionality is working properly or not. All these are called as secondary operations. Even though it is secondary operation, this is necessary operations to work on. All are helpful in securing the integrity of the system is in check. So the main source of data and the receiving of the data, that should be same and that should be unique, right? So all those integrity check which will happen with the help of the secondary operations, those are called as cross-cutting concern. And cross-cutting concerns are intended to stretch across model. So one model to another model there should be a link. Why? Because to withdraw the money, first you need to have to enter the pin. Before entering the pin of the pin, you need to insert your ATM debit or credit card. Yeah, so these are all the series of process which is involved between from model authentication model to the validation model to verification model to the operating model. So in all the modules are some are the other way it is interconnected. You need to take care of all those interconnections. So connections related will be taken care by the plumbing, but functionality wise you need to take care that as a secondary operations. So one example you can see in this figure. So how uniformly across the modules. See user actions, email service, image processing. Here security and transaction. See, image processing means while you are entering into the ATM machine hall, so they capture your image. So if it is image oriented authentication, if it is present in your enterprise application, it is going to work on that. It checks for security, it checks for your iris, it checks for your biometric fingerprint information. If it matches with their database existing database content, then they allow you to do the transactions and all. Apply security as a common aspect to be shared by many modules and configure where it's enforced separately. Security is now it's a part of the every application and every module. In at the micro level, you need to define this security. So to provide security, there are a lot of technological concepts are exist. One is the authentication, another one is session handling. You are binding the session handling. Another one is cookies are helpful to do that. Another one is URL rewriting. So another one is encryption and decryptions. Another one is digital signatures. Several technologies are involved to provide the security for each and every level of your application. So that's the beauty of enterprise. The third responsibility, breakup responsibility, is the plumbing. So plumbing provides the routing and may take several forms. Example, as I said, the plumber, what he is going to do, he is going to connect the pipelines from the river to the pond to the overhead tank to your individual house pipeline, and individual house to your bucket, mug and bucket. See how he is connecting in a proper order, in proper sequence. In the same way, the developer software, the plumbing team needs to connect. So forwarding control from an HTTP request to some action handler. You need to handle this one explicitly. So request is coming, login user information you are providing. You need to deploy a protocol which handles that request. It needs to be forward your request to the appropriate servers. Server is going to be handled. In the server, there are lot many event handling mechanisms. Depending on that, you are going to define action handlers. Those action handlers is going to validate your authentication, checking the credentials, all those things that is going to be defined. So this is the one way of plumbing your, means connecting your client outside your application. Outside your application is client. Client is logging through your application interface. That is going to be forwarded with the help of protocol, HTTP transfer protocol. Then second is obtaining a JDBC connection or Java mail session. So you have, once the authentication is done, you need to allow the user who wants to access their balance information. Again, they should not allow to access others' balance information. They are allowed to access their balance information. So their balance record is binded with the session, and they are also allowed to access the Java mail service if any queries from your side to the bank, raising the complaints, contact us, email. So Java mail session also maintained. So this is another plumbing work which will be carried out from team of members. And the third one, mapping a non-native request like JSON action script, RDBMS SQL into a Java object. So non-native request means, as I said, a client. So I suppose native and non-native. I would like to tell the example. SBI manager, clerk, cashier, field officer, all those called as native to the SBI bank application. Me, I myself, you, other people who is not a part of the application is called as non-native. So whatever we do request from our end to the SBI application, we became like that non-native request. Ours is non-native request. The non-native request is in the form of JSON format, key value pairs, action script. It is a add-up script which you can inject this script to work on the application. RDBMS SQL through SQL queries you can trying to connect to a Java object to the JDBC. So all these are the different some of the functionality. So and the fourth one is plumbing code is nothing more than an adapter between endpoints and provides few merits of its own. So another plumbing definition is adapting a software application to work to provide the proper functionality by connecting each individual models. Plumbing work is that only. So this plumbing, yeah, also it is a team of members. So whatever I discuss here, the responsibility, it is not just individual person. It is a team of peoples are involved. So one example you can look into here, HTTP request goes to a cloud service or internet service. We can think of internet. So then Java request object, you are going to generate form action you are providing. So HTTP request you are sending. That request is handling here with the help of request object. So then request object again, since the enterprise application is distributed application, it might be present in a single location or it might be present in a multiple locations. To access the other locations data, again you need to have the internet connections. Again that request object which will be redirect to the invocation methods. So invocation methods are the business methods which you are requested through the Java request object. So those invocation method, again, if any other things are there, other servers are to process your request, again you are redirecting to the template. Then finally, so obtaining through that you are getting a response. So this is one architecture which we are following since beginning of your AJP class, right? Request and response through HTTP protocol. So now code smart, not hard. Code smart is nothing but do less, do less. Not hard means you can write the same set of code using hundreds of line. You can write the same logic using 2 to 3 line. Which one is better? Both functionality is same, both logic is same, but this is 100th line, this is 3 to 4 line. Which one you are going to choose? 3 to 4 line. That is code smart. It means it improves the performance of your application. We'll discuss this code smart and not hard because it is a little bit the topic title of discussion. We'll discuss it in the next class. Okay. Any questions are there? You enter your reversion and name in the chat window for the attendance.